It begins with a kind of fear that doesn't look dramatic at first, but grows sharper by the minute because it has nothing to grab onto. Archie is supposed to be away at a lodge convention, the sort of harmless trip that usually ends with him coming home loud, self-satisfied, and full of stories no one asked for. But this time the phone doesn't ring. 1 hour passes, then another, then the kind of stretch where every family member starts checking the clock like they're trying to punish it into moving faster. Gloria calls the convention offices and keeps getting the same answer. Nobody has seen him. Edith tries to stay busy, straightening objects that don't need straightening. Walking from one room to another like movement itself might prevent the worst thoughts from taking shape. Michael tries to act calm, because that's his instinct when other people panic, but even he can't ignore the logic. Archie's silence is not normal, and when something isn't normal, your mind fills the empty space with danger. They go to the police station expecting urgency, and instead, they get procedure. They're told they need to wait before filing a missing persons report, as if time is simply a technical detail, not the thing that makes fear multiply. The family leaves with the horrible sensation that they're alone with their panic. Then comes the suggestion that feels like a slap. The police float the possibility that Archie might have run off with another woman. It's said casually, like a common pattern, but it changes the entire emotional weather inside the family. Gloria reacts with outrage. Her father is many things, but she can't imagine him as a romantic runaway. Edith reacts differently, with a strange mix of hurt and reluctant hope, because the thought of Archie leaving with someone else is still easier than the thought of Archie lying somewhere injured or worse. That's how fear works. It makes humiliation feel merciful if it replaces the unknown with a concrete story. Back home, the household turns into a frantic amateur detective agency. Michael starts rummaging through Archie's things, as if personality can predict whereabouts. He tries to build a profile from scraps. Little souvenirs, old photos, small possessions that are meaningless until you're desperate enough to treat them as clues. Gloria makes more calls, repeating the same questions, hearing the same non-answers. Edith tries to keep faith in Archie's basic predictability, but she can't stop picturing scenarios. In a crisis, the mind becomes a projector that refuses to turn off. Every silence becomes a threat. Every ring that isn't the right ring feels like betrayal. Then a coworker shows up, Stretch Cunningham, bringing the kind of loud, casual energy that doesn't match the seriousness of the moment. He jokes, he pokes, he tries to lighten the room, but Gloria can't tolerate humor because she's too scared to laugh. Stretch says Archie had been talking about the trip like it was nothing, like he'd be back before anyone noticed he was gone. But then Stretch drops a detail that makes the family's stomachs clench. Archie has been openly admiring a woman at work, Mildred Boom Boom Turner, a receptionist with a nickname that practically dares imagination to do the rest. Stretch describes Archie's behavior in a way that sounds embarrassing but also suspicious. Little comments, lingering attention, that hungry-eyed admiration Archie would deny if confronted. Michael, who always prefers uncomfortable truth to comforting denial, grabs the detail like a handle and yanks hard. He starts building the theory. Maybe Archie isn't missing at all. Maybe Archie is hiding. Maybe he ran off with Boom Boom. At first it sounds ridiculous, because Archie is not exactly built for secret romance. But fear makes ridiculous theories feel plausible, especially when they offer a storyline that doesn't involve catastrophe. Gloria calls the plant and tries to reach Boom Boom. The responses are vague. She's sick, she's not in, she's not available. The vagueness becomes fuel. If nobody can confirm where Boom Boom is, the theory grows. The family starts treating silence as proof. Pictures appear, photos of Archie near Boom Boom, smiling, close enough to look like intimacy. The photos are innocent on paper, but panic turns them into evidence. Edith's heart breaks in slow motion. Gloria flips between denial and rage. Michael leans into the logic like a prosecutor. If Archie is missing and Boom Boom is missing, then the simplest story is the most humiliating one. And that's the cruelty of it. In the absence of facts, the family starts accusing Archie of the one thing that would hurt them in a different way. They begin to rehearse what they would say if he did come back. Gloria imagines screaming at him. Edith imagines crying. Michael imagines proving, smugly, that he was right about Archie all along. This is how crisis fractures love. Not because people stop caring, but because fear forces them to imagine betrayal as a coping mechanism. Then Boom Boom herself arrives and punctures the fantasy with blunt reality. She's irritated and confused by the rumors swirling around her name. She makes it clear she has her own life, her own relationship, and she hasn't been hiding Archie Bunker anywhere. The photos, she explains, were basically Archie being Archie, jumping into pictures, soaking up attention, collecting the illusion of closeness like it was a trophy without anything actually happening behind the scenes. The family has to swallow embarrassment. They build an entire scandal out of panic. Gloria feels foolish and furious at the same time. Edith feels relief so deep it almost knocks her over. But the relief is incomplete because the core problem remains. If Archie isn't with Boom Boom, then where is he? And then the call finally comes. Archie is alive. Archie is fine. Archie returns with a story so chaotic and absurd that it almost feels offensive compared to the family's terror. From his perspective, his disappearance was a chain of misadventures, misconnections, wrong turns, misunderstandings, something like a comedy of errors that spiraled out of control. From their perspective, it was 2 days of imagining tragedy. When those two perspectives collide, the emotional mismatch becomes the fight. Edith wants to hug him and hit him at the same time. Gloria wants to punish him for scaring her, yet she can't stop feeling grateful that he's alive. Michael wants to mock the absurdity, because sarcasm is how he processes relief. Archie, predictably, wants to be treated like the hero of his own story, not the cause of their suffering. The household tries to reset to normal, but normal doesn't last long in this family. A small domestic annoyance, something as simple as a toilet problem, becomes another argument about competence and responsibility. Michael tries to fix things. Archie complains. Edith tries to soothe. These minor conflicts work like steam vents. They release tension that has nowhere else to go. But the bigger shift is inside Archie, because soon he experiences what he interprets as a brush with death at work. A heavy object falls near where he had been, and because he moved at the last second, he avoids being hurt. For Archie, this isn't luck. It's a sign. It's a message. It's divine protection. And once Archie decides something is divine, he doesn't treat it quietly. He turns it into a full production. He announces he's going to be more religious, more grateful, more committed to God. He calls the Reverend. He talks about church attendance. He speaks about faith with the dramatic intensity of a man who believes he has been spared for a reason. Edith is moved. She wants to believe this will soften him, improve him, transform him into a kinder version of himself. Gloria is cautiously hopeful. Michael is skeptical, insisting that a near accident doesn't prove anything except that life is unpredictable. The household becomes a battleground between faith and cynicism. But underneath that debate is a deeper struggle: how people survive fear. Archie needs meaning because meaning makes terror feel purposeful. If God saved him, then the world isn't random. If the world isn't random, then you can bargain with it through devotion. Michael rejects that because he believes meaning is something humans create, not something the universe guarantees. Their arguments are loud and ideological, but the emotional truth is simple. Both of them are trying to feel less helpless in a world that can end you without warning. Archie's religious phase doesn't make him gentle. It makes him righteous, which is its own kind of loud. He tries to enforce grace at meals. He talks like he's being watched by heaven. He wants everyone to acknowledge that he has been chosen for a second chance. And the family is stuck in that awkward space where they don't want to mock something that might be sincere, but they also can't ignore how Archie uses sincerity as a new way to dominate the room. Then Archie's faith begins sliding into expectation. He buys a raffle ticket, convinced his lucky number will win him a prize, especially a color television. The ticket becomes more than a ticket. It becomes proof. If he wins, he'll read it as a sign that his devotion is being rewarded. When he loses, It exposes the fragile edge of his new belief system. He can accept being spared, but he struggles to accept being denied. That disappointment reveals something uncomfortably human. Sometimes people don't just want faith, they want a deal. They want the universe to pay them back for gratitude. The church then asks Archie to prove his devotion in a way that costs him something. Driving a bus for seniors on Sunday afternoon, exactly when he wants to be watching football. Suddenly, faith collides with habit. It's easy to promise devotion when it's symbolic. It's harder when devotion steals the thing you genuinely care about. Archie agrees, then immediately tries to wiggle out, and that struggle becomes the real test. He wants to believe in miracles, but he also wants his Sunday comfort. He wants to be seen as a good man, but he doesn't want goodness to inconvenience him. And that's where this stretch lands its punch. The family survives a disappearance, survives the humiliation of suspicion, survives the relief of Archie's return, and then watches Archie turn fear into a spiritual identity that both inspires and irritates. The story isn't just about whether Archie found his way home. It's about how quickly a household can invent a scandal when reality goes silent, and how quickly a man can reinvent himself when he's forced to face how close he came to losing everything. The house returns to its usual rhythm: arguments, jokes, stubborn pride, but with a new awareness underneath. Panic can make you cruel, relief can make you reckless, and a so-called miracle can change a man or simply give him a new way to be exactly who he's always been.